as they meet the challenge head on. Scaling through crisis amplifies the stories of the small business owners, startup founders, and scale-up entrepreneurs that are thinking big and finding opportunity in crisis. Scaling Through Crisis is brought to you by Endeavor, and Endeavor is a mission-driven global organization that believes that job creation, innovation, and overall prosperity flourish where there is robust support for high-impact entrepreneurs. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Nadayar Enegesi, who is a co-founder of Eden Life. Prior to Eden Life, Nadayar co-founded a company called Andela and led its learning programs for 5 years. Now, Nadayar imagines a better quality of life for Nigerians through frictionless service with Eden Life. So Nadayar, welcome to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you with us. So first of all, let me start by asking you how you're doing and how is COVID-19 treating you?
Yeah, thanks, Lehlé, for having me. Thanks, Business Day. COVID, yeah, it's like, what a time to be alive, yeah.
You can definitely say that again.
Yeah, I feel like this is the definition of that Mike Tyson quote. Like, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. I feel like everybody around the world all had like great plans, 2020, Vision 2020, and then COVID was just like, bam. But I mean, like, I miss all of the ruckus going on a very personal level. Like, when I think about it, I'm like, yo, I have a place to stay, I have food to eat, I'm healthy. I mean, there are lots of people are actually dying from this thing, right?
Right.
I have a nice support network of friends and family. So everything else is just a bonus at this point, and I'm just like super grateful that I have all of these things. That's how I think about it every day. Mm-hmm.
No, for sure. For sure. So thanks for sharing that. So Nadayar, most people know you as the co-founder of Andela, but more recently you started a company called Eden Life. So can you tell us a little bit about that company?
Yeah, for sure. So in summary, Eden is like a super app for domestic services. Like, you can get your laundry done, you can get food, you can get your cleaning done, you can get your groceries done. All of these things you can get on a recurring schedule. So once you sign up on Eden and you subscribe to these services that you want, you just forget it. And like, we generate a schedule through our technology, and our network of service providers fulfill all of those services week in, week out. And the huge benefit of that is, like, it just saves everybody a lot of time and energy and hustle and all the nonsense that we typically deal with in getting these essential services in our lives. Yeah, so in a nutshell, that is what we're building at Eden. And it's a very personal problem to Silm, Prosper, and I. Silm and Prosper are my co-founders building this. We actually all work at Andela together. And living in Lagos was a new thing for me. I moved to Lagos in 2014 for the first time. And I'm sure, like, when you also moved, you probably experienced the same thing. I'm just like, how does anybody live in this place? And like, it is one of the most vibrant places to live, but it's also just so hard to get little things done. And now every hour counts. Time is getting more and more and more expensive. Like, every hour that you're spending doing something that you're not supposed to be doing with your time, that is an hour that you could be spending building something that's more important to your future, or building something that's more important to your family, or spending time doing the things that you really care about. And so for me personally, like, while building Andela, I realized that I needed a lot of help at home. But then, like, I tried to get an AC guy to come and like fix the AC. and it would take like forever to coordinate. This guy would say you show up at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Shows up at like 6. And you're like there, like waiting and coordinating, and
Right.
then like he shows up, he does the thing, the place looks messy. In the worst case, he like spoils something, and the best I can do is to get offended and to like raise my voice or be upset. So I just started discovering that at a systemic level across the board, when it comes to receiving services that people need, our environment has massive questions around quality, reliability, and safety of services that have never been answered before. And I'm just like, yeah, like if my long-term vision for my life is to improve the quality of life of Nigerians and Africans across the board, then this is definitely a good place to start, because all of us need domestic service. Like we cannot go out there, battle with traffic, battle with all the infrastructure issues that we have, and then come into our homes where we're supposed to rest and still be fighting battles. It doesn't make no sense. And like that was really the driving, motivating factor for starting Eden, to like make all of these services seamless.
I can definitely relate to you in terms of, Lagos is a wonderful city for sure. But there's also, like you said, there's so many moving parts. Things happen so fast that if you're trying to focus on your work, sometimes your home life might, kind of like fall apart if you don't have like the right structure, right? So I think that that's a wonderful idea. So I was reading and I saw that you said that any professional that is serious about productivity and peace of mind should be using Eden Life. So we talked a little bit about the reason why you started Eden Life, the needs of parents. So tell us a little bit about how you've used technology. Like, how exactly does the app work?
Yeah.
And what are the different aspects of it?
Yeah. So we have built a pretty cool and interesting system of different technologies, actually. So the central intelligence system we call Lighthouse, that's what like pulls all the different pieces of our service ecosystem together. So Lighthouse is what generates the schedule of services for our customers automatically, and then matches it with our network of providers based on like where you live, the services that you want, the preferences that you tell us. And then our customers have their own app. Internally, we call it Garden. So like you can find it on the App Store if you just search for Eden Life, actually. And then on that app, that's where you can like monitor your schedule. You can also like put in your preferences. You can make special requests if there's like something special you want us to do for you. And then like on the back end internally, we have some home managers that actually like make sure that the providers execute the services according to schedule and according to the quality preferences that we have like set, or the quality standards that we have set. And you
call them gardeners. So can you talk a little bit about that? So Garden of Eden, I can see like, a little bit of biblical things in there. So talk to us about the gardener.
Yeah. So the gardeners are a very important ingredient in our secret sauce. So the reason why we have gardeners in the first place, the place that the idea came from is that whole idea of outsourcing and having people manage your stuff for you. We have been trying to do that for generations in Nigeria, right? But the problem is, when you're getting people that are going to help you do stuff, most of the time you're getting access to people who are not necessarily educated, not trained, not like technologically inclined or competent. And so even when you're outsourcing things to people to manage for you, you still have to like have a lot of oversight. And you still have to do a lot of shouting, and you still have to do a lot of repetition. But with Eden, like the gardeners, first and foremost, are coming straight from the university. So like every single one of our gardeners have university degrees. Like we have like mechanical engineers in there. We have people who start with fashion design. We have like mass communications grads in there. And so like these are already people who like, they're like you and me. They just deeply care about helping other people live a better life. And so like yeah, it is. It's amazing. And like the gardeners, they have their own app and their own like technology that essentially surfaces all the preferences of the customers that they have to manage. And it just tells them exactly where they have to be and like which providers are doing what so they can stay on top of the situation. So ideally, if you're getting like food, laundry, cleaning, your groceries on Eden on a weekly schedule, and like all of those things are happening like clockwork, you're just getting updates from your gardener, and all you're saying to them is, "Okay, sounds great, sounds good. I love you." Heart, green heart emoji,
Thank you
and like
so much.
everything is just yeah, and like that's exactly how it goes down. Um, so yeah, like
Well,
it's a pretty cool thing. Mm-hmm.
that's a really, I mean, I think it's a really cool innovation. So I'm sure that obviously this is for a specific target market, because I'm sure that there's people who are traditionally stuck in their ways. Traditionally in Africa, and I'm sure in other countries as well,
Mm-hmm.
people, tend to have what we call house helps or helpers that kind of either live in the house or come, from 9 to 5 and kind of do the errand. So that's a typical, like I would say, traditional African house help
Mm-hmm.
structure. So obviously, what
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to do is you're trying to incorporate technology and also like thinking
Mm-hmm.
about the everyday working person professional. So I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you face people that say, "Why would I pay for this service if
Mm-hmm.
if I can just pay my house help 45,000 a month and they do everything for
Mm-hmm.
me?" So can you talk to us a little
Yeah.
bit about that? Why
Yeah.
Eden life for people when we already have our traditional um, house help structure?
Yeah, for sure. So what we are building is for a particular kind of person who
Mm-hmm.
believes certain things. So if you would notice, there is now a cultural shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like our parents and their parents, they mostly relied on some sort of house help type system.
Mm-hmm.
But like with our generation, like is becoming very clear that the culture is shifting. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Um, in the last like decade or so, lots of stories started coming to light about how the question of house helps poses a very big security and safety question. It's like we have seen stories where helps have attempted to kill their host, and in some cases they actually succeeded, or they have done like some serious like damaging things to the people that they live with. And so like partly because of that, there's some of us that we cannot even stomach having another person who we don't really know like that living in our homes. Like it just doesn't gel. Like it doesn't gel with me. I'm sure it doesn't gel with you. It doesn't gel with a bunch of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like for those of us by default, we're like, nah, like house helps not for us. Like we'll rather do this thing ourselves. But thankfully, Eden is here, so you don't have to do it by yourself. You can like save your time and energy. But
Right.
also like besides just that feeling of discomfort of having like kind of like a stranger in your house, where do house helps really come from?
Right.
Where do they come from? It usually sounds like there is like a Capone or matron somewhere that's running some like underground child trafficking ring that like get you some kid from the village that's going to like come to your house and stay there, which is just like inhumane. So like one of the first questions that I ask anybody who tells me, "Oh, but I can have a house help," I always ask them, well, like if you have a help in your home, like are you treating them fairly? Like is that life fair to them? Is it fair to them? Like do you feel like you're paying them a fair wage? Like do you feel like they have a good life? Like do you feel like this is what a child should be spending their time doing? And like most of the time, like the guilt just takes over the conversation and it ends there. But like even aside from all these stuff that might be morally wrong with it, helps also come with hidden costs that no one talks about. So you might say you're paying your help 45K, but you feed them every day. They occupy a room in your house. So technically you're paying rent. When they fall sick, you take care of them. If you're one of the more decent people with a conscience, you probably like put them through school. And like these are all of the things that nobody talks about. You just look at like the 45K that you pay at the end of the month, right? But like you feed them, you house them, you take care of them when they're sick, you put them through school. Like all of those hidden costs are just like unnecessary. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely a niche for that, forward moving and forward thinking professionals, young professionals that kind of just want to be able to check in on their app and see how things are going. So I definitely see that a lot of people could benefit from a service such as Eden. So it's been nice kind of talking to you about Eden Life and the problem that you guys are trying to solve. So I'd like to pivot a little bit about leadership. So as you know, we're in crisis. Some people feel it more than others. I'm sure that your company probably has experienced an uptake in services. So can you talk to us a little bit about how the COVID-19 has specifically affected you and your company, and also how you've had to lead in crisis? Previously, you worked with Andela, you co-founded Andela. I'm sure you guys had your ups and downs in terms of crisis and whatnot. So I'm sure you've dealt with crisis before. So talk to us a bit about how Eden Life is doing in COVID-19 and
yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, man, COVID. So just like everybody else, back to that Mike Tyson quote. When it was clear that COVID was a thing, and then it was in Nigeria, the default reaction that everybody had across the board, myself included, was we were scared. Like we were nervous. Like we were afraid, right? Like because I mean, like some of us have older parents or older family members that we live with. Some of us have immunocompromised friends and family and colleagues. And then at the time too, there was a lot of fear mongering on the internet as well.
Absolutely.
So so that panic definitely crept in. So one of the first things that we did as a company was to just engage more. So the team was just spending more time together, talking about like how they feel, talking about like sharing knowledge about all the things that we could find that seemed factual and credible about COVID, just so we could understand what we were up against. Myself personally, I was stuck in San Francisco because the airports were shut down. I'm actually still here. So so I had to make more. I had to do more FaceTime with team members. Just to be there to listen to whatever, because at that point in time there was really nothing you could do solution wise. Like it's just like our first objective was understand the situation and calm our emotions to be able to come up with a rational plan for how we're going to handle things. So that sort of like went on for about 2 weeks, and then traditional wisdom says times like this you want to play defense, right? So a lot of companies cut their staff strength, cut non-essential spend, all of that stuff. For us, fortunately, we have we have some significant runway, so we were able to just like protect our staff's interest there. Nobody was let go, fortunately. As a matter of fact, like we just implemented a work from home policy immediately. So everybody just started working from home. That came with its own challenges because now you have to make sure that everybody has a reliable internet connection and power at home. Yeah, so we had to solve for that as well. But I would say like after a month, we pretty much just settled into the new normal. We're just like, I like very high chance that COVID is here to stay. The most important thing is that we protect our employees first and foremost. We protect our customers. We protect our service providers. And like it also made me realize that back to the idea of building this frictionless service that's going to enable and improve people's quality of life. Aside from building something that's going to be a massive business, this is something that's important.
Right.
And so like we putting significant effort in just understanding how the virus works. And then like we trained all our service providers on how to be safe. We immediately moved to contactless delivery for like how we deliver food and like grocery boxes. We launched a new product called the Eden Care Box. It's a box of essential curated essential supplies that ideally, if you have this box, you don't really need to go out for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, some companies ended up buying like the care box for their employees just as a gesture of care and kindness. Yeah, I've received so many heartwarming messages from employees of companies like Piggyvest, Bamboo, Cowrywise, like Microsoft. Yeah, it was. I'm really glad that we did that. But where we're at right now is, we've just accepted that this thing is happening. Thankfully, we adapted very quickly, and so for us, like things feel like normal now. So we're just gonna keep doing what we do, which is enabling people live a better life, especially when they're stuck and spending more time at home.
Right. No, I mean, it makes sense. And just a quick one before we move on to kind of your entrepreneurship journey, how you got here. Would you say there's been an uptake or a downtake in the services that you provide during COVID-19?
Initially there was a downtick because we actively paused our laundry and cleaning services.
Right.
Like we're just like, this stuff is dangerous, it's highly contagious. We're not gonna send people into anybody's homes right now. And like we're not gonna be like messing with anybody's clothes until we figure out the exact safety procedures that we're gonna take and until we train all our providers. So the month of April, we experienced a dip. But even while that was happening, we saw a surge in demand for our food service. Because now like people can't go out to eat anymore. People can go out to the market. Most people don't even like to cook anyways. So it's just more convenient. Right. You just get food from Eden every day on schedule, right? So we saw a surge in food. We were actually overwhelmed. It was a lot. So now we've just been recalibrating our investments in our operations, so we're able to handle the demand.
All right. Okay, well that's good to hear. So I'd like to pivot and talk a little bit about you as a person, an entrepreneur, and kind of like your journey to Eden life. So myself and you both went to a university called the University of Waterloo in Canada. So shout out to University of Waterloo and the Warriors. Hi guys, I hope you guys are watching.
Water.
And, water. Anyway. So for me, it's particularly exciting to talk to you because I'm quite fascinated by your entrepreneurial journey. So you graduated with a degree in computer science, and I know that you worked in the tech industry, in Canada and in around Toronto. And on May 21st, 2014, you were on your way back to Lagos. So just some background for the audience. On May 21st, 2007, you left your home in Bayelsa, Nigeria, to go study in Canada. And exactly 7 years after that, May 21st, 2014, you were on a plane back to Nigeria to co-found a company called Andela.
Destiny.
Andela was founded. Yeah. So Andela was founded in 2014, and currently has offices in New York and 5 other African countries such as Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda, and Egypt. So tell us, I mean, you guys have been backed. Andela was backed with 181 million in VC from investors that include the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. So it's a huge journey that you kind of embarked on in 2014. You know, that led you to Andela and now to Eden Life. So talk to us a little bit about that. You know, a university student studying computer science, and you have this great opportunity to give back to the continent and the country that you love, and also, you know, make money while doing it. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Thanks, Lehlé. You just took me on a nice trip down memory lane. Yeah. It's funny because while we were at Waterloo together, I was not even thinking about starting companies. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go work for Google after this is all done. Yeah. And then it all really started with my friend E, who you also know as well. I mean, like E is the entrepreneur extraordinaire, right? Like, it built a bunch of important companies, you know, Andela, Flutterwave, you know, now Future Africa, investing in the next generation of startups. And you know, all friends, he kept asking me, he's like, yo, like, come be my technical co-founder. Let's build things. I'm like, nah, fam. Like, that sounds like a struggle. You know? Yeah. I'm like, nah, there's no way I'm doing that. And then I did recommend an intern at to E's previous company for building an edtech solution for Africans to get, you know, quality North American education without having to like travel overseas. And I just like spent more and more time mentoring that intern, and like that's how I got sucked in. You know. And then one thing led to another, and we started talking about just education in general. You know, Mandela talks about education as a great equalizer, right? And we were like, okay, if we're really going to solve education, like what is the point of education? The point of education is so people can have like real world economic outcomes. And we observed that there was a global technical talent shortage, like for software engineers and developers and designers and things like that. And so we said, what if we could train software engineers really quickly and connect them with employment opportunities so they can, like, you know, 10x their earning potential over like a period of about 4 years. And we said that sounds like a great idea. And like that's how I hopped on a plane on May 21st, 2014, to come to Lagos to recruit and train Andela's first cohorts of engineers. So I would say, like, for me, my entrepreneurial journey has it didn't come from a desire to be an entrepreneur. It just came from a unique opportunity of having friends who were driven to build things that were important, and realizing that I could actually play a role and like use my gifts and my talents in a way that was just much bigger than myself. And, you know, like, truth be told, is the most rewarding thing that I have ever done. I'm super grateful that I met people like Ian, Bryce, Jeremy, Christina, like that enabled me get on this path. And then, like, having come to Lagos and spent significant time there, and like literally watched people, you know, transform their lives completely by just like upgrading their skills through software engineering every day and add value. And then I look at the general situation of how people live, and I'm just like, yo, like, Nigerians are awesome people. Africans are awesome people. Like Black people in general are just dope, right?
Absolutely.
And it's like, yeah, like we deserve a lot more than this. Like we could live way better than we're living right now. Education is one component, right? Like if people are more educated, then like perhaps they could do more. But also people need access to better opportunities, which is what like Andela was doing, was matching brilliance and talent with opportunity. But also like for the average brilliant person in a place like Lagos or Nigeria, I mean, there's just not enough brain space to fully access and use that talent because you're fighting so many battles. Like in the US, I don't know if you're watching the SpaceX launches.
Yes. Yes.
Like super inspiring stuff, right? Like if you live in the US, you can dream like that. Right. You can dream like that. It's like, yeah, like you can go put a rocket in space, or you can go like put satellites in space, and you can think about colonizing Mars and like doing space travel. But like if you're in Nigeria, you're fighting with so many third world problems that sending a rocket to space just sounds very, very unnecessary.
Right.
So I kind of see it as, a responsibility to do everything that I can to enable people to be able to access more of that talent by either like, helping people develop their talent or removing the unnecessary friction from their life so they can actually spend their mind and their talents and their time on things that matter. So I would say like my entrepreneurial journey has been like a nice mix of, being fortunately connected to people who are super driven about solving real problems, and now is about like my own desire and internal responsibility to, enable Nigerians and Africans to just like live better lives and to be able to dream, because like we deserve that,
Absolutely. I mean, I think you make some really great points. And, just kind of looking at this from a macro perspective, I think one of the things that stands out is that you're trying to find ways to solve seemingly small problems on a large scale, right? So with Andela, you solve that particular problem, and then now with Eden Life, you're trying to make life easier, for everyday people. So I just wonder, when you were starting Eden Life, you've obviously had to raise finance, across your career. So can you talk a little bit about that? What was that like with Andela? What was that like, and what has that been like with Eden Life? Raising finance for your business, because that's one of the issues that most entrepreneurs face, is that they have these great ideas, they have the great passion, but not the world is not equal. Not everybody has the same opportunities. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Every business needs some sort of like capitalization, at least to front the initial cost. So I'm trying to think of the angle to take this. Whether it should be more like advice or more experience. I'll just talk about our own experience.
Yeah, talk about your own experience, because I think that's the best, so people can learn.
I think so. Yeah, and I shouldn't be giving advice to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so for us, it was really about the business model first and foremost. It's like we always understood that, I mean, regardless of who you are, fundraising is going to be a challenging exercise. Because like you're asking people to part away, you're asking people to part with their money for a return that they might not see for like a decade, right? And so it's very important to design a business model that was sustainable from day one. It's like if this business model was executed according to how it was designed, we wouldn't even need external financing. And it's funny because, it sounds like investors give businesses money so businesses can like start and run and everything and eventually make money.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easiest to raise capital when your business does not need capital.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I guess then you're not as like, I guess, pressed for the funds. Or explain that.
Yeah, internally as a company, like you're not pressed for the funds, but also like the person who's giving you capital knows that this business is sustainable, and so like if it continues to grow, is going to be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like instead of giving you capital
Mm-hmm.
that you use to start your business, what they're really doing is just like buying the ticket to the game of profitability in your future.
Okay.
Yeah, like it is easier for you to give money to someone who doesn't like, someone who you think doesn't need your money, who's telling you, give me money, I'll pay you back. You're more
Mm-hmm.
likely to be like, yeah, like this person's not gonna run away with my money because like they really don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when it looks like the business hasn't really proven anything yet, you're more skeptical. Um, so for us, our initial investors were all friends and family.
Okay.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, 15 people from Andela invested in us. They
Fantastic.
did. Yeah, super really super grateful for all of you. If you're listening, I have much love for you all. But before even going out to ask our friends for 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 their own hard-earned money, we had to prove that it worked. So for the first 3 months, it was just like Selma, Prosper, and I. We brought on our first gardeners, Ope and Jennifer, and we found providers that we vetted ourselves. We tested them in our homes. We also like cajoled some friends to start paying for the service from day one. So we got about, yeah. So I guess like it helps a lot to have a network. It helps a
Right.
lot to have a network. Like I
Right.
would I would I would love to say that like everything that I'm saying is applicable to everybody, but the truth is that like entrepreneurship is not yet a level playing field, which is why like we as entrepreneurs have a responsibility to pay it forward to other people building businesses, right? To make it easier for them. But like having that network of friends who could pay for the service from day one was super super valuable because like in the first 3 months we had about 30 people who were already paying for Eden and using it on a monthly basis. So when
Fantastic.
we were going to our friends and family to ask them for money, we're really saying, look, this thing is already working.
Viable. Right. It's already
Yeah,
working.
and with or without you, we're going to build something massive out of this. Like, do you want to buy that ticket or not? Like that is
Like it's now
that
or
is the
never.
game. Yeah, right. And so and so and so they look at that and they're like, you know what, this thing makes sense. Like the product works. They have actually like built the technology. People are receiving the services. People are paying for it. It's a sustainable model. I might as well like put some money in there and like see where it goes. So
Mhm.
that's how fundraising has been for us. But it's just like early stages is a lot simpler. I'm sure it gets more complex as you. So by the time we're trying to like expand into new countries and we need like a lot of capital to do that, then we have to go speak with institutional investors.
Mhm.
And at that point, it is a lot more serious, but it is still the same game. Like
Right.
by then it would be, look, we've been operating for 2 years, and like
Mhm.
we have transformed the lives of over 10,000 people in
Mhm. Mhm.
Nigeria who are using this on a monthly basis. And frankly, we really don't need your money because like this stuff is essential. People are paying for it. The customers are really happy. We're retaining a lot of them every month.
Mhm.
If you gave us money today, we can probably grow faster and expand into 3 cities in 1 year. But if you don't, we're just going to keep growing slowly. So at
Absolutely.
that point, like investors would be like, yeah, here's some money, keep doing your thing, grow faster, and then like pay me back.
So I think essentially what you're saying is that if you have a viable business idea that is essentially solving a problem, and you know, and you also know how to kind of, you know, tell your story and show the impact that your business is having, raising finance should be something that is not easy, but is not, you know, completely not doable.
Yes, it is not impossible.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Okay, so we're getting kind of to the end, you know, last 6 minutes of the program, and I want to kind of ask a couple of questions from the audience. Somebody here says, Lucky says, you mentioned friends and network a lot in this conversation. Can you talk to how important building the right network is? So you kind of already talked about that. There's a saying that says, you know, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And I think one of the things that I can tell from, you know, your kind of your journey is that you've kept, I mean, obviously you're an outstanding, you know, entrepreneur and person yourself, but you've been maybe mindful or not so mindful about the people that you keep around you. And it's obviously, it shows that, you know, through keeping positive and innovative people around you, it's allowed you to also attain success. So maybe talk a little bit about how important it is to keep the right people around you. In French, there's a saying that says, it's better to be alone than in bad company. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I have been super fortunate in just like meeting really, really good people. And I would also say what you put out there is also what you get. It's
right.
like fundamentally making an effort to be like a good person that like does good things in the world does attract that energy to you as well. You know, and in you mentioned the word mindful, and like for me, I have been super mindful of that. It's like what is the value that I am creating? What am I giving? What am I giving? And so like that energy of like putting out good intent and like making yourself available to create value tends to attract the same things, sometimes sometimes with compound interest, right? So yes, like network of friends, colleagues, you know, even customers has been super valuable. I mean, like it kind of feels trite and trivial just to say this anyways, because I'm sure everybody knows this, so I wouldn't even say much more about it. Can move on to the next question.
All right. Let's see what we have here. How do you keep innovation at the heart of your company during this time? That's from on Instagram.
Yeah, it's really just so every startup is in the pursuit of one thing: product market fit. And like product market fit is when the thing that you're building, people actually want it. And the people who are using the thing that you're building, they love it. They love it to the point where most of them would say they'll be very disappointed if they no longer had access to what it is that you are building. And that is really the driver of innovation, right? Like when people use the word innovation in the abstract, it feels like mad scientists thinking about like something crazy that nobody has ever seen before. But most of the times, like innovation just comes through iteration via like approaching product market fit. So it's listening to the customers, understanding them even better than they understand themselves, knowing exactly what they need, and just keep like making micro improvements to the product that inch you closer and closer to that sweet spot. And like for us, that's what we do every day. Like we listen to our customers all the time. And we don't just listen to the words, like we listen to the subtext. We try to understand their context and then build specifically for how they're going to like solve all of those problems with our help. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. So we're coming to the last few minutes. I just wonder if you have any, you know, words of wisdom for upcoming entrepreneurs, people that, you know, that are looking to do what you've done. You know, you've built amazing companies. People look up to you. So do you have any words that you can share?
Wow, so much pressure. It's like people look up to Oh man, I will take this opportunity to ask that nobody should look up to me. I think everybody has their own journeys in life. It's like everybody has something that's in their heart that they know that they should explore. A lot of the times we ignore it because we're afraid. Sometimes we're afraid because we feel like we do not have the right resources to be able to pursue those things, or we feel like we do not know enough. All right. But the thing I would like to say to encourage people would be like that thing that's in your heart, find a way to explore it, because one of the most interesting things about entrepreneurship is that you will never have the answers figured out. You never have the resources, but there's something magical about just like going for it that pulls the resources in. Mm-hmm. It's like crazy. Like I can't even really explain how it works, but it is almost as if, I don't know. There's this saying that like when you really want something and you go for it, the universe conspires in your favor to make it happen for you. Mm-hmm. And so for all the entrepreneurs out there, like continue to lean into what your heart is telling you. Continue to be optimistic. Like optimism is really all that we have, because by default, the odds are stacked against you as an entrepreneur. Like you're going to be fighting multiple battles on multiple fronts. And like it is the optimism that paves the way. It's the optimism that gives you the energy. And like as you do more of it, you see more results. It's a positive reinforcing loop, and you get more and more optimistic. You get more and more confident. And so my word of advice to people out there is just to like lean into that inkling in your heart and like really follow it, and just, I'm telling you, watch the universe conspire in your favor.
I like that. I think that's a perfect way to end this interview. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us on another edition of Scaling Through Crisis. And we'll put all the descriptions to Eden Life so people can download the app and try it out, and hopefully, live a seamless, frictionless life. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Lehlé. Really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you so much.
See you offline.
Take care of yourself.
All
right.
You
Bye.
also. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Goodbye. All right, guys. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this edition of Scaling Through Crisis, brought to you by BusinessDay in partnership with Endeavor Nigeria. Excuse me. I had a really great time speaking to Nadayar, who's the CEO and co-founder of Eden Life, which is essentially a tech platform that allows professionals to live a frictionless life. So essentially, you can go on the app and get your groceries done, get your cleaning done, get your housing in order, so you can focus on being innovative, being an entrepreneur or being a 9-to-5 person. So I definitely hope you guys check out Eden Life. You can download it on the App Store. And I look forward to having another edition of Scaling Through Crisis on June 11th at 2 p.m. And we'll be speaking to the CEO of Printivo, which is a company that focuses on printing, digital media, and things of that sort. So again, my name is Lehlé Balde. I work with BusinessDay, and it's been a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you guys all next week, Thursday, June 11th. Do have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.